I think we all feel it. The world is getting worse, and there's too much to process. Sometimes we don't know what to think or to feel about everything that's happening, but things are happening very fast. Today is the 18th of May, 2026. So if you are having problems with making ends meet, worrying about gas prices, worrying about war, worrying about climate change, just so many issues all at once. And I think that because we don't know how to process, we can't name, we can't put a finger on all of this, I thought it was important for me to do a video on this topic. My name is Scott Layton, and this channel is The Renaissance Spirit. I am an American expat who left America last year because I didn't like what was happening in America. Probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. I am currently in beautiful Gjirokastër, Albania, and basically I'm going to be just visa hopping for a while and seeing what happens. I've been making a lot of changes in my life, trying to improve my life. I work out 5 days a week now, which I hadn't done for years, prior to the pandemic actually. I go to church every week, I pray, I meditate, I walk the beautiful streets of wherever I'm at any given point in time. On any given day, I'm walking between 5 and 10 miles on average. The only thing that I'm not doing healthy for myself at this point is drinking. Part of that is just a coping mechanism, unfortunately, trying to deal with everything else going on. I'm eating the Mediterranean diet. I don't eat processed foods. My point for telling you all this is, I think we're at a moment in time, what I call the Titanic Moment. And I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts and explain to you where I'm coming from and see if you are in the same spot or if you have the same thoughts as I do. Before I explain what the Titanic Moment means, let me tell you that I've done a few videos on the topic of the Polycrisis. All of these crises that we're talking about are actually related. So you can't really look at one without looking at them all. Proszę dziękuję. I'll put the link of the Polycrisis video in the description for more information. But again, just the idea that everything is related. If you are concerned about the cost of electricity, then you have to look at the growing usage of AI data centers, and all of that is connected to the environment. So 3 issues all into one. That's an example of a polycrisis. When I say that we're in a Titanic moment, I'm not saying that things can't turn around, that the ship can't maneuver and miss the iceberg. My point is that I don't think enough of us are engaged in politics to make a difference. I don't think our political leaders care enough about the situation that we're all currently in. And let's face it, a lot of them are just too damn corrupt. They don't care about anything but themselves. Hence one of the reasons I left America. So it's not that I'm a nihilist by any stretch of the imagination. My point is that things can definitely get better. I just don't know at this point if we have the time, the wherewithal, the interest to be able to do that. Things like willful ignorance, things like apathy, are big issues. Just look in the United States, for example. There have been several No Kings rallies, and I think the most people who've ever showed up was like somewhere between 5 and 8%. That's not going to move, you know, the dial any, guys. So, in a moment that I call the Titanic moment, it's after the iceberg is hit. After the ship has hit the iceberg, and everyone's kind of quizzical, like what's going on, etc., etc. People go out to the decks to see. You see ice on the ground. You still don't know in your head and your mind yet that we're going to sink. But that realization comes soon enough. When the Titanic hit ice, I think within the first half an hour, pretty much everybody knew what was going on. Certainly within the first hour. And the ship sank, if memory serves, within 2.5 hours of that fateful moment. So the Titanic moment I'm referring to is the we are going to probably drown moment. And the question then becomes, how do we spend our last moments? If you watched James Cameron's famous movie, you saw the answers on the people on the ship, the passengers, the crew. Some clutched their loved ones, some prayed, some drank, some smoked, some partied, some went crazy, some probably tried to go and bribe the crew to let them on what little ships were there. Remember, most of the people went down with the ship. I think it was about 1,500 that actually perished. You know, only I think around 700 survived. So that's the Titanic moment I'm talking about. I'm not saying that the world is going to end tomorrow, or even 10 years from now, or even 100 years from now. But I believe that our way of life, our civilization, the climate, politics, democracy, I think we are at that moment where if things don't change right now, irrevocably, things are just going to get worse. And there will be a point of no return if we haven't already crossed it. I've done videos on how the AMOC, the current of water that's heated from the Gulf of Mexico, not the Gulf of America, to the Arctic and back, is slowly, conceivably collapsing. That's going to go and impact Europe, Latin America, Africa, parts of Asia. That's going to impact the United States because the levels of waters will rise because warmer water expands. Things like coffee, things like chocolate, if you haven't already noticed, are pretty expensive. And they're only going to get more expensive. I'm not going to say that they're going to go extinct, but they very well could because of things like climate change. And because of the other factors, all, again, polycrisis. We don't know what kind of world we're going to be in the next 10, 20 years. That's one of the reasons why I did retire early at 55 and left America. I gave my notice in October. My last day was in November. I was out of there in December. We don't know how long we have left on this earth. We don't know what the future will hold. And that's true of humanity. We've always been in that particular spot. But now we're not talking about just us as individuals. We're talking about whole societies, whole cultures, whole civilizations. Everything currently is a big question mark. It reminds me of what happened to the Roman Empire. Marcus Aurelius knew that the empire was on decline, the famous Stoic. And he tried his best to live a good life, to do what was necessary and as much as he could for the people, his citizens. But people felt it in their soul, in their heart, in their mind. Things were not the same, and things were only getting worse. The Roman Empire didn't fall in a day. The door was open for Odoacer much earlier than that. And that's where we're at now. Trump just got back from China. And China is ascending by any stretch of the imagination. But that's not to say that America couldn't turn course and ascend as well. If we put more money in infrastructure, if we put more money in the people who actually matter, the citizens themselves, if we took care of each other, if we invested in things like education and healthcare. But we all know that the people in power right now don't care about those things. At least not for the rest of us. So yeah, America is on decline. I think we can all agree to that statement. And because of that, probably we're going to have to go and let China take Taiwan. Are we really in the position to fight China over it at this point? Our foreign policy has been all over the place. We've attacked enemies and allies alike. At this point, I wonder if America should even exist. Philosophically, I mean. Morally. But, so here we are, in this Titanic moment. What do we do with the time we have left? Like I said, other than drinking, and I'll admit that's one of my biggest faults at this point, after doom scrolling the news, seeing what catastrophes happen at any given point in time. Most recently, seeing that Trump is going to probably have the IRS pay him money for the release of his income. I mean, talk about conflict of interest, talk about corruption. I mean, just every day there's something new. Every day there's something more worrying than the last. But anyway, so I try to take care of myself. Like I said, I'm not a nihilist, but I still have that duality feeling that, is any of this for any good, you know? And it's been really weighing on me. It really weighed on me this weekend. And I guess the only answer to that is, what choice do we have? We have to keep living, we have to keep growing, we have to be thankful for what we have, grateful. We have to enjoy what we have and appreciate that a lot of people have it a lot worse than we do. We have to go and appreciate all and all the gifts that God has given us. Yes, things will probably get worse. And maybe in a few hundred years from now or 1,000 years from now, things will get better again. Who knows? Assuming we actually survive that long as a species and as a planet. But like the Stoics said, like the Christians say, and I'm both, we have to put in our best effort. We have to show up every day. We have to be present. We have to appreciate and thank God for all the gifts we have. And remember that it's not God who's doing a lot of this to us, it's ourselves. So yeah, I mean, I might die tomorrow. There might not be a purpose of me going to the gym today. We're being exhausted from my leg day on Friday. Today's Monday. My calves still hurt. But you have to keep living. And that's why I came to Albania, because I knew that I would have a very difficult time doing that if I would have stayed in America. I think I would have just shriveled up. I've said that on several videos so far. My soul was just going to shrivel up if I stayed. I wasn't happy with what was happening. I wasn't happy with the politics, the culture wars, the willful ignorance, the apathy. So I decided to see as much of the world as I could, meet people, make friends in new places, give back to the community. I've done some volunteer work here, pray, go to church, try to live my best life and be as happy as I can. Sometimes happiness is a choice. We don't always feel it. I certainly don't. But again, what choice do we have? It's either that or be despondent and depressed. So, do you guys believe this is a Titanic moment? If you understand my concepts? And how do you believe you should act or experience the world with everything going on right now? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. This has been a hard video to make for so many different reasons. I want to try to put hope out there in the world, and that's the reason I have this channel. Part of my mission statement is to build a new renaissance in the world. I believe we have the capacity, we have the reasoning, we have the compassion. It's just, I don't know if people are willing to do that. I don't know if they're willing to choose to make things better. I mean, that's basically what I'm saying. I'm trying to make things better for myself and hopefully you guys every day. In another video I asked if I was a good steward to you. Because honestly, what's the point of us being here if we can't help each other? But it is becoming more difficult for me to put on a brave face, and that's where I'm coming from. Alrighty guys, take care and have a great day.